In this example, you're going to first verify whether the function satisfies the hypotheses of the mean value theorem. And then if it does, then we'll find the values of C that satisfy the conclusion of the mean value theorem. So before we work it out together, write it down and try working it out on your own so that you can see how well you got a handle on this, and then we'll work it through together in a moment. So the verification part comes down to verifying these two statements. We need to know, is it continuous and is it differentiable? Well, and if need be, you could always take a look at the graph of this, but looking at this particular function, I can see that there's no places where we would end up getting an asymptote, and there's no holes in the graph because we'd never be divided by 0. So this is actually looking pretty good then. This function is in fact continuous and differentiable on our interval from 0 to 1. All right, so now that we've taken care of that part, then we now need to find our number C that satisfy the conclusion of the mean value theorem. Now remember, the conclusion of the mean value theorem is that at some point over this interval, our derivative is going to hit the same slope as the slope between those two endpoints. So I got to find two things. First, I have to figure out what is the derivative function. And so when we do that, I'm going to use power rule here. So it's going to be 4/3 times x to the power of, and if I do 4/3 minus 1, that gives me 1/3. So that's 4/3 x to the 1/3 for my derivative. Now the other part that I need to do is I do need to figure out what does the slope equal. So for my slope, I'm going to do the delta y over the delta x, which just ends up giving me a slope of 1. So now I can take that and put it back over here, because remember, for mean value theorem, I'm trying to figure out when does the derivative equal that slope. So I'm now going to do 1 equals 4/3 x to the 1/3. And we're going to solve that. So first thing I'm going to do then, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 4/3, or in other words, multiply both sides by 3/4, because those two mean the same thing. So that gives me 3/4 equals x to the 1/3 power. Now, if I want to make that 1/3 power go away, I can raise this side to the power of something. So I want to make 1/3 times whatever this is just equal 1. So I'm just left with x to the 1 power, or x. Well, 1/3 times 3 would end up giving me just 1. So I'm going to be taking both sides to the power of 3 now. To do a fraction to the power like that, I'm going to do the top number cubed. So 3 cubed gives me 27, and then the bottom number cubed. And 4 cubed gives me 64. And so 27/64 equals x. That is my C value. That is my final answer that I was looking for. So at that exact point, I know that I will be hitting the slope that goes between 0 and 1. I will be hitting that exact same slope at that point.